Over the Moon. I'm Jason Horton.
I'm Rebecca Lieb.
And this is Ghost Town.
On August 25th, 1835, the world was introduced to a fantastic scientific discovery in the New York Sun. The piece read, quote, "We will state at once that by means of a telescope of vast dimensions and an entirely new principle, the younger Herschel, at his observatory in the southern hemisphere, has already made the most extraordinary discoveries in every planet of our solar system, and has obtained a distinct view of objects in the moon, and has affirmatively settled the question whether this satellite be inhabited, and by what order of beings. Proof of life on other planets." But was it? A tale of imagination, misinformation, plagiarism, and sci-fi wonder. Today on Ghost Town, we're talking about the Great Moon Hoax. During the week of August 25th, 1835, a series of 6 articles, supposedly from the Edinburgh Journal of Science, were published in the New York Sun newspaper, supposedly announcing the discovery of life on the moon. The pieces were authored by a Dr. Andrew Grant, described as a colleague of Sir John Herschel, a famous astronomer of the day. Herschel had in fact traveled to Cape Town, South Africa in January of 1834 to set up an observatory with a powerful new telescope. As Grant described it, Herschel had taken up the work of his astronomer father, and in doing so found evidence of life forms on the moon, including unicorns, 2-legged beavers, and furry, winged-like human creatures that resembled bats. All by way of his telescope, Grant explained these discoveries, including some imaginative descriptions of the moon's geography, which included huge amethyst crystals, craters, roaring rivers, and lush vegetation. The New York Sun, founded in 1833, was one of those new penny press papers that appealed to a wider audience, and this piece certainly underlined that fact. After the first article hit the newsstands, sales of the paper shot up, and of course it did. People were eager to read about this groundbreaking, worldview-altering discovery. But it wasn't just everyday newspaper readers who looked into Herschel and his work. People far and wide believed it, respectable people who were scientists, journalists, and academics. The New York Times called Herschel's discoveries, quote, "probable and possible," and religious groups started making plans for missionary work out in space. Shocked themselves by the article's content, a committee of Yale University scientists actually traveled to New York in search of the original Edinburgh Journal articles. One person who didn't believe these bizarre pieces of journalism was famed American writer Edgar Allan Poe. Quote, "Not one person in 10 discredited it," he wrote. "A grave professor of mathematics in a Virginian college told me seriously that he had no doubt of the truth of the whole affair." Poe wanted the Sun's story to be proved wrong, not because he valued scientific inquiry, but because he believed that the actual writer had plagiarized his own work. Quote, "The unparalleled adventure of one Hans Pfaall and Hans Pfaall, a tale, was published in the Southern Literary Messenger earlier that year and bore a strikingly similar line of messaging about moon exploration. His editor at the time was Richard Adams Locke, who was also a known writer at the Sun. It all felt a little convenient, because it was. In general, the Sun employees were floored by the article's responses from all types of people over a wide range of communities, because it really was a hoax, a piece of satire written by them for purely entertainment purposes. The Edinburgh Journal of Science had stopped publication years earlier, and Grant himself was a fictional character, likely, as Poe suspected, written by Richard Adams Locke, a Cambridge-educated writer, editor, and Sun reporter. So when the Yale University scientists actually came to the Sun looking for the original Edinburgh documents, Sun employees sent them back and forth between the printing and editorial offices, hoping to discourage them, which worked, and the scientists returned to New Haven extremely confused. The pieces were intended as satire, poking fun at serious speculations about extraterrestrial life, particularly those of Reverend Thomas Dick, a popular science writer who claimed in his best-selling books that the moon alone had 4.2 billion inhabitants. On September 16, 1835, the Sun admitted the articles had been a hoax. The fallout was not too bad, honestly. Sales stayed up, and people seemed generally amused by the whole thing. As you likely already know, the widespread realization that the Great Moon Hoax was in fact a hoax didn't end the era of media falsehoods, or attempted media falsehoods. Almost 100 years later, we had the 1938 radio dramatization of H.G. Wells' science fiction novel The War of the Worlds. And now, as you navigate any online platform, you can find plenty of modern versions of Great Moon hoaxes, all to be believed or disbelieved in the palm of your own hand.